People, Deluded, thank you very much for tuning back in. I hope you're all doing well on this Saturday afternoon on a night. It looks like a nice day. Ain't been outside yet, but it looks hella windy, but nice day in London, North London to be specific. Unai Emery, people, and I haven't got the notes up, but I have a lot of sympathy for him. As you lot know, I'm not here to give you all of my thoughts. We've been down this road, but in short, obviously I've got a lot of sympathy because we know this team is not going to turn into top 6, top 4 contenders, let alone title challenges overnight. It's not going to happen. It's around anything from 2 to 4, maybe even 5 seasons before you see that. And it takes around 3 to implement your way of playing. Obviously, we know these players have let themselves down on several occasions. I'm not going to name drop and put people in individual circumstances because we win and lose together, but they've let him down. So I've got a lot of sympathy for him in terms of the playing staff, in terms of the money and all of these things available to him, in terms of just how the club's been in disarray, because you don't get to this, you don't reach this level in terms of playing staff and all these things overnight. We know we've been mismanaged for years, whether that you lie that with Wenger, Glazides, the culture that comes from the manager, the owner, I believe, in Stan Kroenke. We've made wrong decisions, and now we're playing catch-up, not only commercially, but in terms of tactically. I personally didn't think we'll get top 4, and I'm not going to hold it against Unai Emery if we don't get top 4, because I wasn't screaming that in the summer. I thought we'd come 5th. My big thing is, whether we come 5th or 6th, if I just want to see us shaping into something. I want to be able to get behind something. Do you see what I'm saying, people? It's like I'm seeing us improve in terms of, for instance, let's say these individual mistakes. That's still a theme of ours. If we're still making these mistakes, but it's under different circumstances, like I could, again, I don't think he will, but I could say, okay, Mustafi, you made a mistake, but at least you recognise that Sergio Aguero tried to run in behind you and you dropped off a couple yards and the rest of them tried to cover. Them sort of things there. That's what I wanted to see. And I think Unai Emery, he's probably still discovering himself as a manager, but in short, I like what he has shown in isolated incidences. The draw against Spurs weren't his fault, but how he set up against Chelsea, Liverpool as well at home, and a couple of other examples to a degree. So I like the bravery. But one thing we can't get around is, and I know he needs his own players and things like that, but we can't get away from this, people. As much as I'm praising Unai Emery and got sympathy for him, you know the job you're walking into. You knew you was walking into PSG. It's Champions League or die trying. It's stars and it's not even about being a manager. It's more about managing ego sort of thing. You know what you're walking into. You know at Arsenal you're walking into a club that hasn't been competitive for a while. The playing staff is underwhelming. You've got several players on big wages that you can't move on and several other things. You know the role you're walking into. You know that we don't have much money, so I can't really complain. Unai Emery, he can complain, but he can't. Think about it, people. If the club is telling you there's no P's, you're going to have to coach players, etc., and you step into that, do you have a leg to stand on? You don't. A part of me feels as well, Unai Emery wants to use this to not only rebuild his reputation, but I do think to a degree, as much as I like Unai Emery, everyone would. You take this job because you could probably hide behind the fact that Arsenal need to rebuild and things like that. Because you got nobody to think about it. I personally, I can't speak for everyone, but I like balance. I like to look at the players, what they're doing on the field, because ultimately they're the ones they're playing. I like to look at the manager's instructions and then come to some sort of balance sort of thing, people. But like with Arsenal, when we was going on 22 unbeaten, what did you hear? It was all Unai Emery, it was all the training sessions and things like that. Now we're losing, what did you hear, people? Oh, he needs to get in his own players and this and that. I'm not saying either is right, either is wrong. I'm just, one, saying balance, and I'm saying two, if you can ride when everything's going right, if you can praise him, then you've got to look at everything, because the players were the ones playing at the end of the day, for as much as I praise Unai for that unbeaten. So, and the players are still getting critiqued by myself, but I have to look at Unai Emery. Coaching and working with what you had, no matter how crap they are, is a big part of this role. I think, and I was going off topic, but what I actually meant to say is a big part of why I think Unai took this role to a degree is because you can hide behind these sort of things. You get to rebuild. It's almost, if we don't compete next year, people are going to say it's still a rebuilding phase. So you're not really being judged under any real scrutiny, really and truly. Coaching players we can't get around it. He has to improve certain players. There's no way around it. No matter how much myself, I'm saying it, people. Some of these players, in my opinion, are uncoachable, are just lost causes. Honest to God, I'm not trying to be offensive, but that's what I believe. But coaching, working within your means, is a big reason or a big part of the job. We know against this is the backdrop of Arsenal's self-sufficiency and not having money, and we're trying to get these players on loan while clubs are splashing peas. It's almost an impossible job, but you can't get around it. He needs to improve players. He needs to work with, to a degree, what he has. We can't get around that, people. And on that, I was trying to think, who has he improved in this side? And admittedly, I can't think of many people. I can't think of many. Obviously, I could sit here and say Guendouzi and Socrates, they've come into the club and made an impact and things like that. And that's true, but they weren't here last year, so I didn't really feel to scream them. And if we're honest, for someone that talks about video analysis, it's down to Matteo Guendouzi to improve this, but you're seeing the same mistakes. You saw for the third goal, he's walking back, and to be honest, in the last game he played against Rennes, and to be honest, and it's not just him. How many times have I said in videos, midfield runners? I clocked it from Liverpool when Milner scored the thing, set up the goal. Milner scored the goal. Go and watch that game for the goals we conceded. Milner and Mane, midfield runners. Again, it happened against Liverpool with Firmino. It happened against United in the FA Cup with Lingard. In fact, it happened a couple of times with Lingard. It keeps happening this season. Midfield runners. So, it's a bit of pull and pull. So, for as much as I was going to praise Guendouzi, surely he's got to improve him, and he said he's got to say something like, yo, listen, you keep letting midfield runners go. At times, like against Bournemouth, you're holding onto the ball and inviting pressure, because that mistake from Guendouzi's been coming for weeks. I love Guendouzi. Bro, who was speaking about him before he came to this club? For any of you that don't watch me on a regular basis, I love him, but you've got to keep it true. So, yeah, I could name them, but really and truly, is it really? In regards to players, I think he's improved. I think Hector Bellerin first and foremost, but obviously Hector Bellerin's injured now. I'm not going to say he turned into Dani Alves, but you were seeing some consistency. You were seeing a bit of Bellerin of old, and you were just seeing, for me, you're just seeing Bellerin play with confidence, because similar to Iwobi, it looked like these players, maybe it's because they came through the academy in Bellerin, La Masia and that. Maybe it's because they're homegrown and stuff, and they're a bit more in tune with the social media stuff. They feel a bit more pressure, because it did look like both of them last season were scared. Sadly, Bellerin's season is over, but I felt he played very well. He's been well. Similar to it, Rob Holding. It took Holding a while to get his chance under Unai Emery, but he was flying past that. Now, it wasn't exactly perfect from Holding. He still got a long way to go. You got to look at the penalty he conceded against Spurs when he was fit, but he was, give or take, him and Socrates are best defenders available for this season. Sad, but they're two players I think he's improved. I think he's improved Iwobi. Now, Iwobi's having his best goal-scoring season. Now, obviously, he's only scored, that means he's only scored 5-6, so it's not eye-catching. But for me, away from that, and he hasn't been perfect, but he's playing with consistency. If he's not necessarily scoring or assisting, he's constantly being an outlet on the left-hand flank. And I feel with the likes of Iwobi, Xhaka, a couple others, Ozil, regardless of what you think of these players, I feel this is where it comes into being a football fan and having balance, because I mentioned these players because 9 times out of 10, people have made up their minds about Iwobi. He's either good or crap. Xhaka the same. I think we'll all be in agreement Mustafi is crap. But Ozil the same. You get the point. I feel fans of all clubs, but specific to my club, Arsenal, we're speaking too many agendas. So we've got Holding, we've got Bellerin. I feel Iwobi's improved. Just in terms of just seeing him, he looks confident, man. He still needs to improve. He's not all the way there yet, of course, but he just looks more confident. He's still not all the way there, like I said, but it's like he misses one chance. He looks like he's on it again. And obviously Pep is Pep, and he's not, Unai Emery is not his level, and Sterling is definitely not levels with Iwobi. Sterling's much better. But the same sort of thing. You saw Sterling playing with a handbrake in the last 2 seasons, including this. If Sterling misses a chance, he don't care because the next one. And as a manager, that's what you want to do. I like how he's giving them confidence. Past that, admittedly, I'm kind of struggling, people. Can I say Xhaka? Now, I feel people talking extremes with Xhaka, myself included. I get mad frustrated with him, but I think he's actually had a good season. Obviously, he's had moments with the team where he's been poor and stuff, but I feel Xhaka's been alright. Now, he still does dumb stuff, of course, people, like you saw in the build-up against Rennes. Many examples, he still does dumb stuff in it. You know he can be a liability, I don't need to tell you. But would you say he's improved? I don't know for the word improve, people, and I don't know for Xhaka. That's why I kind of saved him till last. And admittedly, people, apart from Holding, Iwobi and Bellerin, I am struggling for names, people. I was going to say Kolasinac, Kola, as I like to refer to him as, but how do you quantify that? Because for me, defensively, he hasn't improved, and we're still seeing, not just him, but he leaves gaps, and teams exploit that. And again, you have to coach players. And again, the video analysis and these things is always hearing. Kola hasn't improved in that. You look at Brighton, you look at United, you look at Liverpool. There's several examples of teams exploiting the space. Now, obviously, a part of that is because Kola's being told to go forward by the manager, to which we'd have to improve as a team. And I don't think we've improved defensively as our midfield defending, and we haven't improved in regards to defending, excluding probably set pieces, in my opinion, and we've improved at taking them. But yeah, I think he's done a lot, and obviously he can't improve 11 players right now, innit? But I feel again, you need balance. I feel you can't just... obviously, I believe in backing Unai Emery. I don't think he's shown me anything to concede that you're not the manager. He's done some things I find bewildering. He's done some things I found quality people. I feel he got his tactics wrong against Rennes in the second half. Equally against Spurs, against Chelsea, against Liverpool, I think he's got them right. Equally, I felt his tactics when he started subbing people against Palace away was a big reason as to why we lost it. He's a manager. He's not perfect. He's human. He's going to make mistakes. But I feel with conversations like this, or where Arsenal is at a period now, I don't think you can stand in one position on things. Like people said there's an issue with me giving him a 5 out of 10, and people were saying out of his season so far, and people saying, oh, that's average. Firstly, what's wrong with it being average? There's nothing wrong with that. Secondly, if I was Unai Emery and I've lost several players with the injuries, key players, and I found myself within the top 4 after all the good and bad we've been through at this point in the season, to still be here in March, 5 out of 10 so far, which it can change, would be an improvement. Now, admittedly, 5, we'll say 6, but these sort of ratings there is calm. I think he's shown moments that have been 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10 and stuff, but I think there's been moments where it's been 4 out of 10. So I think he's doing all right. I feel the big thing is, people need to remember, Unai is probably discovering himself again as a manager. He's probably doing some deep soul searching, as we all would. Think about it, people. When you go from PSG, you get sacked from any job, you're probably still thinking, are you worth it? He's going to Arsenal where there's incredible scrutiny, whether he's doing good, bad, or just so-so. You're probably discovering yourself. He's got a million things to do. He's got to get players off the books. He wants to bring players in. He's got to get a way of playing. I do think he's tinkered too much as well. But there's several things, people. He's got to bring young players in. There's several things, and it's just one man, and you can't expect it all to turn overnight. And that's why I feel it's important to praise and critique on a game-to-game basis. Like, I believe in Unai Emery. If he's not the man for the job, if we look back in 3 years or so, or he shows stuff that shows that he's not the manager, right, cool, move on. But I feel people make their beds too much. Some people have conceded that Unai Emery is just not good enough. Some people have conceded that he's the best thing since sliced bread. And with the players, there's all agendas. It's never going to stop. But I feel it really stops you from looking at things balanced. The only thing I care about is my football club, Arsenal, with Arsenal badge. That's all I care about. Everyone else is beneath that. So I will praise and critique, man, fairly. And many of you that rock with me, I do this. So yeah, man, I personally feel, and spoiler alert, there's a video coming out on Arsenal Fan TV, was recorded a bit ago, where we're talking about this, but yeah, out of 10, I'll give Unai a 6 probably, man. 5, my instinct is a 5, and I don't see nothing wrong with 5. I see 50%, considering everything that's happened to get that is a madness. If you get top 4, then it could be higher, but I don't think 5 is a bad. I don't think 5 is bad. I don't think 5. It's wait and see. And I expected a 5. I expected him to give him a 5 now in August, because he's doing all right. Like, he's doing all right. There's still a lot we need to improve. So I feel anything else is a bit OTT. At a push a 6, I feel a 7 is a bit too much. Yeah. He's in a good position in regards to the top 4, but I just want to see us have a consistent way of playing. I know his hand's been forced and stuff, but it's just a bit chop and change. And like I said, he's still defining himself as Arsenal manager, not Unai Emery of Seville or of PSG or whatever. So yeah, man, I went slightly off topic with all of that towards the end, the last 2 minutes and stuff. This is actually just meant to be about players he improved, and I was actually meant to ask you the question. I kind of went left and right with this vid, but thank you for watching. I hope I've provided some decent content for you, man. And yeah, man, people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking with me.